which we call the Twilight Zone.
Steve Kerr, and you look at Steph and Clay, and even Draymond with his lack of
As in 2 in a row, 7 points for him. The twirling Doncic, melting into the defense. The front carry strikes. Swing, fly ball. Well hit left center. Robert Acuna has home. Rookie rushing record for the Steelers.
Look, he came into this game averaging 3.67 yards per carry. 42nd out of 49 qualified rushers.
Freeze to begin the third quarter. It has been incredible. Here he comes again. Oh, goodness. And the Greek basketball god. And he was a great guy to teach the
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to Dingers, Dunks, and Drives, a Rally Towel Sports podcast presented to you by the Mafia Sports Report, in addition to Rally Towel Sports. We thank you guys so much for coming and joining. We got a great show, and I feel like I haven't seen you guys in a while.
It's been a minute.
Yeah, it has been a minute.
I've been busy as hell with grad school starting, birthday parties coming up, and you know, my girls turn 4 tomorrow, which
Wow.
I know, it's wild, man.
Where's the time go?
Right. We were just talking, you know, I was talking with the weef, talking about it, saying, you know, what were we doing 4 years ago? Brian, liking the stream. Appreciate you dropping by early, Brian. What's going on, buddy?
Was it sleeping in?
We were sitting in the Ryan liking the stream as well. Appreciate you, man. We were sitting in the hospital just waiting for the C-section, so you know, waiting for the surgery basically. So we just waited all night, and I remember it was like August 31st, right, today, and we have twins, and so we were just like, what time are we starting? They're like, probably like 11:30. Is it like a long procedure, like 11:30 p.m.? Is it a long procedure? And they're like, no, it's pretty quick. And we're just like, hold on. I just want to be very clear. We have 2 human beings that are going to be exiting this woman today. And we want to be very clear that they have the same birthday. I want to make sure that happens. I'm not fucking doing 2 birthday parties back to back. I'm not doing 2 different fucking birthstones and all. None of that. I'm a whole month older than you for like 14 years. That shit that's not going to fly. But it's surreal, man. It's you know, you got 2 little girls growing up in this world that as a parent it's a little, you know, weird, especially with little girls, when I know everything that's going on in the world, and you just have I know you got, you know, this attack on you know, my daughter's future right to just be stay-at-home moms by these feminists is just bullshit, dude. It's just absolute bullshit. So I'm all jokes aside, I'm very excited. They're getting older. It's a lot of fun. But we got a great show for you tonight. We got Greg Cherry coming on in a little bit. He's a stand-up comic. He's going to be joining us. He's out in Fort Collins, Colorado. So we are spanning multiple time zones tonight. In a beautiful way. But before we get into that, what's going on? What do we got? What's hot right now in the world of football? What's grinding your gears or getting your Peter tickled about the NFL right now? A lot's been happening.
Yeah, I mean, you look at, you know, all the 53-man roster cuts, and I don't think there's been a ton of surprises. We've seen a couple small moves. Obviously, Rieger getting traded to the Vikings. Yeah. You know, I think every year I feel like there's a lot of.
He was a first-round pick, wasn't he?
Yeah, what's ironic is he was the guy taken right before Justin Jefferson in Minnesota. And, you know, that was kind of, you know, he never really was embraced in Philly because he never really played well. But they're also looking at the fact of who was the next receiver off the board. And it's, probably the best receiver in the league right now.
Yeah.
So that's a little bittersweet. So, you know, it's interesting that they have those 2 guys on the same roster now. You didn't really think that was a team that needed to go out and get a receiver. You know, I still think Thielen's pretty good, but he's 34 years old. So I understand making a move like that. And they seem like they want to be a more pass heavy offense. So that one kind of stood out to me a little bit. And just some teams like, you know, as a Browns fan, it's weird that, you know, we're sitting here with 4 receivers and 2 tight ends, and 5 running backs. So,
Yeah.
Felton is a slot receiver. He's just listed as a running back, basically. I understand that. But one of the receivers that we held on to is going to be injured to start the year. So you're basically, looking at 4. And Browns fans know this all too well, but Anthony Schwartz just can't catch a football, and he's one of the guys on the team. So that stood out to me, at least personally, but I don't know what else do you guys see?
Well, the Bengals went out and got OJ Howard, which
that actually hasn't happened yet.
I didn't think that was official yet.
So it's not official, but OJ Howard is in the building, if you will. It's basically
he's expected to sign.
Exactly, he's expected to sign pending a physical, all the stuff, which is pretty exciting, Bobby. Don't you think? I mean, obviously you're not a Bengals fan, but
no.
I mean, from that perspective, that's if you are a Bengals fan or as somebody that has to play them twice a year, that's pretty notable, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I was actually, surprised that the Steelers went and made a move and signed Jesse Davis as well to kind of reinforce the O-line there in Pittsburgh, which I was really happy about. I think that's really the biggest weak spot on their team right now, which, they've made a lot of moves in the offseason to strengthen that. And obviously they're still looking to add people to that front line, which is great in my eye, especially with Najee Harris there. They're trying to give him all the tools to be successful this year. And I think Najee Harris is going to blow everybody's minds this year. I'm so excited to watch him play football. And by the way, we're less than 2 weeks away from NFL.
Yeah, baby.
Less than 2 weeks.
A week away tomorrow.
8 days, yeah.
Yeah, a week away tomorrow. Rams Bills, is it?
Yeah.
To start the season off. That's a banger right there. So
yeah, the Bills just had to replace their punter as well.
Right. Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, that's a whole fucking thing, huh? I mean,
we haven't been live since that happened.
Well, what about the fact that they fucking knew about it?
And that I didn't know.
They knew about it and then didn't do anything about it until after shit hit the fan. Like they're like Ray Ricing it in terms of like what the NFL did with Ray Rice. It's like, oh, we got caught that we knew. Okay, yeah, you're bad. Like the Bills still made a fucking decision to put him on the team, and it's it's not a good look for anybody, obviously.
No.
I think the reports were that the San Diego Police Department didn't pursue it because there was like conflicting testimonies from different witnesses. Basically, they interviewed different people, and one story didn't, support the other story or whatever. I don't know.
Does he ever play in the NFL?
I don't know. He's obviously a special talent, punter taken in the 6th round. Pretty amazing at what he was able to do on the field. But I think you would wait and see how that plays out. If he's exonerated, then I would say probably, yeah.
I was gonna say I think the key word there is punter, right? I think we've seen what happens with quarterbacks, receivers, running backs, special skill positions.
Not a damn thing, Aaron.
Damn thing. I don't think punter's worth the headache. I would probably guess. I don't care how good you are.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, obviously, none of that to be taken lightly, but like you just said, the Bills were kind of pressed into making that move. The crazy thing is they cut their old punter knowing this information. And then, I certainly don't really have a leg to stand on here to shun organizations for what they've done. So I won't do so, but, yeah, I mean, I think the fact that he's a punter is a big part of it. And, to answer the question, yeah, I think he plays at some point.
Yeah. I think another big note, Alex Leatherwood, first round.
Yeah, that was the other one.
Going to the Bears, which is a good signing. Justin Fields just came in his pants to stay on topic there, but he was really happy to get some support. I'm sure still doesn't have any weapons. The offense line still isn't great. Alex Leatherwood is
second year, first round. Yeah, like I'm.
Yeah, I that's what I was getting to. Is Alex Leatherwood isn't going to change the dynamic of their entire offensive line, but he is going to help them. I would argue.
Yeah, not only that, but because he was claimed off of waivers, that means they have to absorb the contract, which means the Raiders are off the hook for that money now.
Yeah, which I mean, it's only got 3 years, or it's got 2 years
first
left.
Round pick money.
2 years left in the deal, but they also get team control for an additional.
Yeah, and obviously you don't have to pick up the 5th year.
Yeah, I would imagine they could even restructure it for a cheaper contract if they wanted to.
The Raiders would have had to buy him out for the guaranteed money if he had cleared. Now, obviously, the Bears want to guarantee that
they get him.
That they get him, and that's fair. He certainly wasn't going to not play this year. But you've seen just, everyone's seen the list on Twitter of, the absolute bungling of a job that the Raiders have done with first round picks for.
That's a low blow.
Sorry. I was just looking at, our intro is just Cleveland people getting put on their ass. So I'll let it go. But no, I mean, he was obviously going to play somewhere. We'll see how that career goes, but he certainly was overdrafted. But he played 17 games last year.
Tommy coming with a comment here in the chat saying that the Bills signed Sam Martin today. Solid vet punter from the Broncos. Another thing coming in here from Todd. Todd, thanks for joining us on your day off, buddy. Just saw Josh Gordon likely to sign with the Titans, probably going to be in a special teams capacity from everything that I've read. They're not likely to see a whole lot of starting snaps or even rotational snaps there as a wideout, which it is what it is.
What could have been?
I mean, maybe.
That guy.
Maybe.
I mean, from a pure talent standpoint, I mean, he had
here's
one
what
of the greatest seasons I've ever seen from a receiver, and it was Brandon Weeden throwing to him.
Jordan, thanks for liking the stream, buddy. Thanks for joining us tonight. What I mean by that is there are plenty of receivers that have looked really, really good for a couple of years and then not. So what I mean is his athletic ability isn't gone. So why aren't the results there is what I'm trying to say. Is
he's in his 30s now. He's past his prime.
But even before that,
it's hard to keep a groove going when you keep getting suspended.
Sure,
the dude was suspended every other
I'm not saying that.
season.
I'm not saying that he wouldn't have been really good. All I'm just saying is that, you don't know. You don't know. He could have just been a flash. You never
That's why
flash
I said
Gordon.
what could have been.
Yeah, we don't know. We don't know.
We don't know.
Yeah. Let's see. Other.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that a starting left guard has been named for the Cincinnati Bengals, and that, of course, is not one Jackson Carman, losing his spot to the rook. I always mess up his name with the V's and the C's. Excuse me, Cordell Volson. Thank you. Cordell Volson won the starting job today. Ted liking the stream. What's up, Ted? Appreciate you dropping by, man.
What up, big dog?
Yeah, Volson won the starting job, which is big. I think Todd called that preseason. He's like, I think he's going to win. I was like, maybe you're right. Let's see how Jackson Carman does in his year 2. But clearly the Bengals coaching staff feels really good about what they're seeing out of Cordell. So excited to see that. He is a glass eater, as what they've referred to as needing on this offensive line. So that means 4 new offensive linemen for the Cincinnati Bengals starting week 1 against your Pittsburgh Steelers, Bobby. Going to be interesting. Obviously, a big thing with offensive line is the way they gel and the way they come together. Right. So we'll see how they've been able to do that in training camp. Anything else? What else do we got on?
Yeah, Brian in the stream or in the chat asking, trying to figure out a way to stream Bengals games in a Titans market. I got 2 words for you, Brian. Ahoy, matey. You'll be just fine.
There we go. And we'll leave it at that. And I think that's all. If you need anything else, you can get Aaron at a mailman on Twitter. And we'll take it from there in terms of your
on the high seas, buddy.
There you go. There you go. It's Aaron's favorite porn site, if you were wondering. So, but no, there's also Sunday ticket.
Yeah, right. Obviously, that is honestly Red Zone is my porn.
Yeah. Yeah, your best player is a pirate.
Yeah.
So yeah, something like that. Anyway, anything else? What else do we have? Tons of people losing their fucking jobs yesterday. So shout out to them. Welcome back to the real world. Hope them resumes look good, boys. Better luck next year, right?
I think that's what. I mean, there's a lot of guys who get scooped up in the practice or for practice squads, which not for nothing. If you can stay on a practice squad for a whole year, you're making over $200,000 a year. So yeah. I would do that. I'll hold it. If anyone out there is listening, I can hold a fucking clipboard.
I'll practice 3 times a week for that.
Yeah.
Are you fucking with me? And not get CTE? Yeah, that sounds fucking tight. That sounds really tight.
Wear the bubble helmet?
Yeah, dude. I'll wear the fuck out of those bubble. I'll wear just the bubble helmet. I don't care. It'll be tight. It'll be super tight. Anyways, what else do we got? Anything else? Anything happening? Chat. If you got something else, you throw it in the chat, and we'll talk about it as well. But I want to get to. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say the only other thing is fantasy football is obviously starting, but I can't give away my secrets because me and Corey have a draft tomorrow. But
we do have a draft tomorrow.
So
what pick are you, Aaron?
7.
Oh, I'm right before you.
Yeah,
that's fantastic.
I'll be right beautiful. Before you on the comeback.
Yeah, yeah, sure you will. Whatever, dude. It's like your opinion, man.
How many teams are in that league?
12.
It's a 12-team league because we're men.
12. If you're doing anything less than 12 and you're proud of your trophy, don't be.
Yeah, don't be. You won a participation award, and good for you. Bobby, do you feel personally attacked right now?
I do.
Why are you playing a 4-teamer?
No, I play in a
4-team league.
With how
10
many?
Team with 2
10?
quarterbacks.
That makes up for it a little bit.
It's a 10-team league, and you can start 3 quarterbacks.
Well, then I take it back.
Wild.
That's dumb as hell.
It's wild. It's Josh's league. It's insane.
It's insane. That means there's 2 quarterbacks not starting every week in the league. Who are those typically? I'm just curious. This is fun. Who are the 2 worst quarterbacks?
Well, what about bye weeks though?
Oh, yeah, so you got them stashed. All quarterbacks are on a roster.
All quarterbacks on a roster.
Yeah.
Like a Taysom Hill has value.
You could be trotting out like fucking Daddy Longnecks one day, you know?
Really
like, I need some points, man. He's going to put up more than fucking McCole Hardman or something like that.
Davis Mills going in the 7th round out of value.
Oh my god.
Yeah, he's going to put up 20 a week. What do you want me to start?
All the quarterbacks get scooped up eventually.
What do you want me to start fucking Njoku over him? That's not going to happen.
Not going to happen.
Yeah, I get it.
Drew Lock and Geno Smith from Scott over on YouTube. That is very it's a very good assessment there. Todd said Aaron Judge has 51 home runs and no one cares.
It's true.
I haven't really heard a lot of baseball talk.
Baseball just doesn't do a good job of marketing themselves.
I forgot baseball. I have Carl. Thanks for liking the stream, but I have moments where I forget that baseball is being played competitively, because in my head it's just like football, just consistently. Just ever since training camp started, it's all I've thought about.
How many home runs does Albert Pujols have now?
It was like 698 or something like that. Or no,
which is insane.
6-7. That's not right.
Insane.
I have no idea.
All right, we're being rude. Is what we're doing at this point. We have an esteemed colleague and guest sitting in the green room right now. Hopefully the interns have brought him some water, maybe a snicky snack or 2. But I think it's time to bring him on and have a little fun. What do you boys say?
I say so.
I say so. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, get up from Mr. Greg Cherry. Greg joining us tonight live from Fort Collins. Greg, thank you so much for coming on the show, man. How are you? How are things?
Man. Things are going good. Before the stream, Corey and I were talking. We haven't talked in person since undergrad, like probably 8 years ago or so. It's just been all social media messaging. So
yes, yeah, just sarcastic bullshit back and forth to each other on social media.
Right.
You've been doing your thing out there in Colorado, getting after it. When did you actually make the move from Ohio out west?
Dude, about 6 years ago this past June. So it's been a minute. But people are like, "Did you move out there for the weed?" I'm like, "No, I moved out there because I lived in fucking Ohio."
Yeah.
But also the weed doesn't hurt, it's fine. But
well, now I'm here in Michigan. I lived in Colorado for a hot minute, about 6-7 months.
Right.
Then I come back to Michigan, and it's like I brought the campaign with me, and it immediately legalized. So, did you move out there originally? You said 6 years ago. That puts us at 16. So, you're originally from the Cleveland area, is that correct?
Yeah, man, from Brook Park. So about 10 minutes from Berea. Like drove by the Browns training camp all the time out that way, and lived out there. And then got done with grad school and moved out here to work at Colorado State University for a year, and decided higher education was a scam, and then got into tech. So
you're kidding me.
Yeah, I know, right? Who would have thought? But yeah, man, it's been a good time out here. Everything's 300 days of sunlight, can't beat that. And I go back to Ohio for a week, and it's 45 minutes at best, so
Yeah.
So what are you sipping on tonight? We're into three things.
Yeah,
It's charity, beer, and sports. So I gotta say, what are you sipping
course.
on over there?
So Odell Brewing's out here. If you're ever on the air, you probably remember them, Corey, maybe. But Pulp Theory Hazy IPA.
Ooh,
So just
with the
one of my favorite,
hazy.
one of my favorite breweries out here. They're really doing really good work.
Aaron, what are you rolling with there, buddy?
I got a Great Lakes Oktoberfest.
Oh, holding it down. It's time. It's basically you should have
Greg knows
flannels
about the Great Lakes. I think everybody
flannels,
does.
jeans. You should be. It's fall now, basically. I don't care if it's gonna be 87 degrees tomorrow. It's fall. And just be ready for it. How much pumpkin spice do you ingest in one season, gentlemen? Is really the main question. Okay, we're all on the same page then. Great.
Yeah. Do pumpkin
Glad to hear
count?
it. Pumpkin beers? No, I don't. I'm not big on those, man. Those
I'm
they're
a pumpkin
different.
guy in general.
They're different. They're different than a Oktoberfest, you know.
Yeah,
I will eat pumpkin one time a year, and it's Thanksgiving, and I'll have a slice of pumpkin pie.
And that'll be a pie,
and that's it.
Right.
With a little bit of Cool Whip.
I don't even do that, man. I just don't
Really?
like pumpkins. Yeah,
So what
we carve the pumpkins and roast the seeds. That's about it. That's about as far as I go.
I'm into that. So what do you eat? What's your pie on Thanksgiving, Aaron?
Apple.
Okay. All right. Well, I was going to call you a communist, but that's about the most American thing you could fucking
Are you
eat.
kidding
So
me?
I redact. So yeah. All right. So you moved out. You're like, fuck this. Fuck the Rams. And I'm going to get in. You got into tech, and then did you just stumble into stand-up? How did you get going into stand-up comedy?
Yeah, so it's a bit of a ride there. So I've been wanting to do it for a long time. I've always been like a fan of it, you know. I was like a theater music nerd in high school and loved being on stage, loved kind of like, you know, having that euphoria rush from doing so. And then when I moved out here, I kind of got in a bit of like the party lifestyle. I was hanging out with these like people that are like dentists, making a bunch of money, you know, doing all the drugs and drinking and partying, etc.
Sounds fucking sweet.
It was a good ride, but I started getting a bit too deep into it. So like May 2019, a week before my birthday, I got a DUI at like a .247 like BAC from drinking and doing blow. It was like, you know, it was that kind of thing. Yeah, dude, I was going down a bad path, right? Because I was just kind of just a work hard, play hard mentality for sure. And then after that, I was like, well, shoot, I can't do anything now. I couldn't even like smoke. You know, you had to be on probation, all that jazz. Big wake up call. Good thing it happened, honestly. But I was like, well, might as well. I already hate myself. Let's go do stand up. So I started doing that.
just tell all the strangers about it, right? Yeah,
right. Yeah. So I started hitting up the open mics and whatnot. And my first one went way better than it should have because I had friends there. If anyone's listening to this and wants to do stand up, don't have your friends there when you start because you need to eat shit for a while and like, you know, feel that feeling of eating shit. But yeah, dude, it kind of like replaced like that endorphin euphoria rush, you know, that like I got through other means. And, you know, once you just keep going at it, it's like working out, you know, you just kind of keep working that muscle. And I love it now. I work at the Comedy Fort out here, which is a club in Port Collins. Performed down in Denver, produced a couple of shows myself. And it's just something I just really enjoy doing for sure.
It's awesome.
That's sick. That's sick. Tez, thanks for liking the stream, man. Appreciate everybody dropping by. If you don't already, I almost said your Twitter handle or your Instagram handle as your name, Craig Berry, which is where you can find Greg on Instagram. He posts a bunch of videos. If you are out in the Fort Collins area, you can see all of his shows on there as well. We'll be sure to share that on Twitter later tonight once we wrap things up here. We got a ways to go before that. I don't know what I'm doing with that, but I guess when you first got started, so you said, all right, you had your buddies in there and, you know, they're gassing you up a little bit. I'm sure you went into your next set with maybe an inflated ego or a little bit of, you know, a little bit too much. Is there any time that you're just like, I can't fucking do this anymore. This is just ridiculous, man.
Oh, dude, absolutely. Like, I mean, all the time, you know, you're very hard on yourself when you first start. You know, people are doing so much better than you. You're like 6-7 months in. I'm a little over 3 years in now. And like, I mean, I'm getting booked on shows and whatnot, but in the grand scheme of things, I'm very young still, like in the scene, you know, and it's like, you know, people have been doing it that you see on like, you know, like a Netflix or like late night or things like that. I've been doing it for 10, 15 years, like a long time. And so people are like, do you do this full time? I'm like, not if I want to live inside. So, you know, it's not necessarily my full-time gig by any means. But yeah, dude, like it just, you know, I just kept eating shit for a while. But even when you're eating shit during a set, like when you're bombing hard and there's no worse feeling than that. but even if you get like one little pop of laughter, it makes kind of everything okay, you know? So it's just you keep kind of just like chasing that dragon in a way.
Do you find yourself kind of like gravitating to that individual in the crowd, or do you have to like kind of pull yourself away from that and realize that you're working the whole room and not, just that one person that's given you that thing that you're looking for?
Oh yeah, no, I mean, if it's just one person, like, I don't really pay much mind to that. But if I get like one general pocket of pop or like a crowd pop, like that's kind of better. Um, but no, now it's at the time where you really just kind of read the room and just look, see like who you're performing with, kind of know the context, maybe jab with them a little bit depending on where you're at. Like, there's more liberal parts out here in Colorado. There's more conservative parts. You can play fun with both of them depending on how you go about it. Like I'm in CSU. Well, I'm at Fort Collins where CSU is at, super white city. And I had this joke basically where students are like, and I asked them like, what's your favorite part about living out here, about going to CSU? And they'll just be like, I just love how diverse it is out here. It's like, I don't fucking know, Braxton. Were you in a cult before this?
That's very, very similar to where we went to school there, Greg.
Yeah.
I remember Bowling Green putting up this thing as just like, we're about diversity here. And we're just like, really? Are you? Very, very white.
Yeah, not really at all, right? So, I mean, Greg, being out in Colorado, like you just said there, you have like, whether it be a conservative or like a liberal type of crowd, is right. As a comedian, do you want to be the person that kind of like panders to what the crowd wants, or is it better to challenge, the crowd with different material, or what's your kind of view on that?
Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, I think if you're just being true to yourself on stage and doing what makes sense to you, and like, of course, if it's like a big paying gig, like you may want to keep that in like into perspective, especially I'm not a headliner, right? Like I'm maybe like doing 10, 15, 20 minutes. I'm usually somewhere in the middle there at this point. And with that, like your job is to not deflate the room before the feature a headliner takes the stage, because you don't want to set them up for a bad spot. Granted, if they're good at their job, they're going to dig themselves out, but you don't want to create that work for them. You want to keep the wave going. But I find that the liberal crowds, honestly, sometimes laugh less than the more conservative crowds. Because
no way.
Yeah, no, crazy. Because a lot of times they're looking at things like laugh at, right? So for instance, like that CSU joke I just told, I used to have a different tag on it where I would say like, I don't know, Braxton, I don't think seeing your friends in blackface at a party counts as diversity. And like it would get some pops here and there, but I told him Boulder one time, and it was just an all white room in Boulder, Colorado, which is like namaste, like USA, right?
Oh yeah.
And there's
zero fucking deodorant sales. Like Old Spice doesn't even fucking try and sell their shit in Boulder. It's all patchouli.
Right. And hard kombucha, which is a thing apparently. But and like they like didn't laugh at the joke, or like they were like were a little uneasy about it, and I gave it a beat, and I was like, guys, where are your black friends at? You didn't bring them. They're not here tonight. Like, like you're not being an ally, and that brought them back. But it's definitely interesting, like you kind of go into a more conservative crowd, where a guy's wearing a cutoff shirt he made at home that says like all lives matter on it. And you're like, all right, well, I'm still gonna tell my queer jokes at him. So right, make him feel uncomfortable. But it's it just really depends where you're at. But if you do your job well enough, or at least study well enough, then you know how to put your material in different rooms, and that's the good sign of like being good at what you're doing, is not limiting yourself depending where you're at.
Sure. Right. So do you stick more to script when you're up there, or do you kind of play off the crowd, or does it just kind of depend on how the night's going?
Yeah, so I have like a set list in my mind I'm going to do depending how much time I'm doing. I can break things up, reorder things. But of course, if you have a crowd that's like really having fun with it, you can make some comments about things. If someone laughs weird, you can point that out. If someone cheers at a weird spot, you can point that out too. If someone's heckling, you can maybe engage with them a little bit just to shut them up, but be nice about it. There are times where it's hard to be nice about it, where you're just like,
I bet.
Yeah, I have been on stage and been like, hey, shut the fuck up, and I'll just continue, but then there are times where I'll engage them, like, some ladies yelling out in the back and be like, that's my drunk can, everyone. Like, so it just really depends on the context and, how you're feeling that night. Definitely. Sometimes it's hard not to bring up on stage if you had like a shitty day, if you had a good day, that does affect, but you got to sometimes push out to the side before you do your set.
Right. No,
Dude,
that's
that
fair.
would bother me so fucking much when you're up there doing your. I don't know that I'd have the composure to just like blow it off when somebody's heckling you. Is there a time where you just like, dude, or is there a funny heckler story? Or I don't know. I'm not trying to like, hey, comic, be funny on the camera now.
Tell us a
Like,
joke, Greg.
tell us a joke, Greg.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm very. We're all pretty big stand-up fans
Yeah,
in general,
I love
and
stand-up.
so I like hearing
Right.
behind the scenes stuff about it. I like from the I listen to a lot of stand-up comics podcasts, and you get a little bit of insight, but obviously I don't have I haven't had Tom Segura on yet, but I'm going to continue trying. But I mean, I just like hearing some stories or the
Yeah, man.
insight about it.
Yeah, so I remember the first time I ever got like seriously heckled, it was terrifying because it was an outdoor show at the place my buddy worked at for like a smoke shop, like a head shop, right?
Mm.
And they had like this festival every year, and I was outside. I was doing 10 minutes. I had no business doing 10 minutes. I really had 4 minutes on a good day at that point because like I was about barely a couple months in, if that. And Fort Collins has a big homeless population, so context there, right? And so it was like Denver, and like it's pretty evident, like it's pretty apparent, like in your face, as opposed to where I grew up. So that was a bit of a culture shift. But so basically, I didn't know any better. I was just having fun. But I said a joke. I forgot what the context was, and this dude without a shirt, like white guy without a shirt, like
Good start.
low hanging jeans, comes up, like he's like outside, he's just walking around, has a can of chunky Campbell's soup that is just open with a spoon in it, and I'm like, oh
Nice.
fuck. He comes up, he starts yelling some things at me, and I'm like, dude, you missed the point of the joke. And I had to explain part of it to him in front of everybody, which is really good for comedy when you have to explain your joke.
Yeah.
It means that you're doing really
kills.
good.
Kills.
Yeah. And then he's like, all right, well, whatever. And he starts walking away, and then like I couldn't help myself, and I just looked at the audience, and I was like, don't do meth, everyone. And he turned back around. I was like, fuck. Or actually, there's this other one too in Salt Lake City. I did a show out there, a couple shows.
What part?
Last year. Oh man, I don't know parts of Salt Lake City. I was just out there for the first time.
Yeah. I just lived out there. That's why I was asking. I was curious whereabouts you were.
It was at a place called, I think, the Handlebar. It was like a mustache theme bar.
Yeah,
I was
dude.
there. Yeah, I was at Handlebar. But I was at Handlebar for my buddy's monthly show, and there's just like small, like short, bald guy. Looks like he's probably the president of his HOA. Like sitting in the front.
Looks like Hank from Breaking Bad. Yeah,
exactly. exactly. And I said a joke once again, and I forgot what it was. It's like a political, like joking kind of thing. And he commented back in a way that like we just weren't on the same page, but I was actually agreeing with what he was saying in my joke. He just was too drunk to realize it. And then I was like having a little back and forth. He got aggressive, and I was like, all right, man, that's fine. We'll just, after a show, we'll go fuck later. And he's like, how about I fuck you up later? And everyone's like, oh man. And they start like they instantly, everyone hated this guy like right away. And which is like cool because the crowd's on my side. Towards the end, I had him like laughing. He like got engaged. I called him out on it. I was like, look at you, all smiles again. He gave me a thumbs up. And then afterwards, he sent the bartender over to me, the server. She came to me. She's like, hey, that guy wants to buy you a shot or a drink. And I was like, oh, I'll take a shot of tequila. And
he was going to fuck you, Greg.
I know, right? if he was lucky. But she was about to walk away, and I stopped her, and I was like, actually, you know what? What's your most expensive shot of tequila?
Oh, yeah.
I did like that route because that guy's an asshole. So that's how I got a $14 shot of tequila in Salt Lake City.
There you go.
Excellent.
Yeah,
so I got some questions coming in here. One from Jordan. Obviously, you said you've been in Utah, Colorado. You ever come back east doing any shows in Ohio?
Yeah. So I actually, little context. It came out as like pansexual like last year. So that means that as a white guy, I can get booked on more shows now because I'm queer, I guess. But I made a quota.
Great career move.
Yeah. They're like, oh, you're into everyone? Cool. Here's a show. Essentially, yes, I'll be in Columbus for like the Midwest Queer Comedy Festival in Columbus. But it's supposed to happen in August. It got pushed to early February, March kind of thing. So I'll be back in the Columbus area soon next year. But then always when I'm back in Ohio, I try to hit things up. I have some friends out there, most in the Cleveland area, but it's just, it's kind of tough to get out there and make those connections once in a while, but been applying to some festivals out that way. So I'm trying to trying to get more traction to move around, a bit and get out of the state a little bit more.
You have to keep us in the loop with that. We got 2 Rally
Yeah.
Top Sports homies located in Columbus, and Aaron's in Cleveland.
I'm
So
in
that's
Cleveland. Yeah, I'm in.
Fair enough.
You said where'd you say you lived in Cleveland? I apologize. It was
Brook Park.
Brook Park. Yeah, I'm in Fairview
Yeah.
Park. So
Okay, gotcha. I went to like Mid Park High School when it was a thing back in the day. If you're familiar. Yeah.
Boys, I've gotten sophisticated this evening. I thought I'd just interject here and let you know I'm drinking a 2011 Malbec right now.
Malbec's my favorite.
It's for you, Aaron. That's why I'm doing this. So we're getting wine drunk on a Wednesday.
Boys are dead now, man.
Wine down Wednesday, man.
Wine down Wednesday. I like that. Yeah, actually, there's a fucking restaurant around here. I think their whole goal is to either just to get to contribute to the amount of DUIs the county's able to issue, or just make people fuck on their dance floor, something like that. But they just literally like Martini Mondays, half off martinis till like fucking 9. Like Wednesdays, same deal.
Till 9?
Yeah, dude, it's insane. Half off wine, and there's another day for draft beer. There's another day for mixed drinks or well drinks. It's just absolute fucking insanity. And we used to go there quite a bit right after the girls were born. So you need a break sometimes, man. Sometimes when you're just watching 2 human beings and you're responsible for keeping them alive, you need your wine Wednesdays at Uptown. So that's why we're coming back to this tonight.
Right.
Nothing wrong with that.
No.
You just put the kids to bed, lock the front door, go out for a bit. Don't need to have a sitter. You're good.
No, the dog. I mean, look at it. By the time the dog's 2, he's 14, really. So
Exactly, and that's when when you start babysitting.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly.
14, yeah.
That little weird having a male babysitter, but I know where he lives.
Yeah, but he's family.
He's family. Exactly. You can trust him. The opposable thumbs thing, we're going to work through that. But he's a golden, so he'll learn quickly. So, all right. So we talked a little bit about this when you first came on, Greg. I'm just curious. Right. Working in that environment where you're in, that Colorado is kind of that. There's a large like liberal base, but there is that swing state esqueness to it, which we're all comfortable navigating and living in Ohio, where if you're in the urban areas, very liberal. If you're in the more rural or suburban areas, very conservative. And with comedy, that presents its own network. Obviously, working in our whole lives, there are those things, but in comedy, I feel like that presents a little bit different, especially now whether you want to call it cancel culture or wokeness or whatever, comedians have been under fire as of late in the last couple of years for things they said, some of it justified, some of it not. I'm not going to get into that, but I'm just curious, like as someone that is going through that creative process of trying to put jokes out there, how do you walk that line? Do you fucking walk that line? Do you not care? Or like how's that like internally for you?
Yeah, man, for sure. So it definitely is something that you have to consider looking every day. You see all these new comics coming to open mics for the first time. I say new comics very loosely because sometimes they're just like there for 2 weeks or 3 weeks. You don't see them anymore. But you don't want to be like an edgelord. I just want to go out there and be like, I'm gonna rattle your world. I'm gonna say things that you never heard before because you have. No one gives a shit. Like it's fine. But it definitely is. I wouldn't say like necessarily a fine line. It's not one that I feel is difficult to navigate. It's just more so like, hey, like, are you gonna be like there's ways to make fun of things that is satirical and that has context behind it. And when you're on stage and say like someone has a bit that gets leaked, they're working on that bit. They're at these clubs working them out and still perfecting them, maybe to build up their hour, like, more like famous comedians, or maybe they're headlining and touring. They don't have a special op, but they're still building up their time. Sometimes you see those things that just leak online and there's not context behind it. It's like, oh, so-and-so said this thing about this group of people or about this event that happened in the news, but those people that were reading that article weren't there at the show and weren't there to actually see everything that led up to that moment and the context that is the buildup. It's not just they just say like, like you said, it's like, oh, these feminists are trying to keep my girls from being stay-at-home moms. Like there's like context behind that, and that was clearly like like a joke, and you just fucking around, right? And like, but if someone just came in right at that point and then exited before you said, okay, all joking aside, they'd be like, oh, Corey is such a misogynist. Like there's like that context, And sometimes people are at shows and they're just waiting to be upset. They're just there looking, arms crossed, waiting to be mad. And honestly, the people that get the most upset are typically white people on behalf of other people that they don't have any connection with. You know what I mean?
Right.
And especially the worst are blonde white women. I'm just gonna say it right now, it's fine. But like, maybe they're
coming for you, Greg.
Right. Maybe they're trying to.
Here come the Swifties.
They're trying to trap from the fact that they were Hitler's favorite person, so they don't want anybody to remember that. And so, but it's something that like it's very easy to just be a decent person on stage while still giving your material and your jokes, right? Because sometimes you're building up one way and the audience will be like, oh, this guy's a fucking douchebag, but then you take an angle that turns it a completely 180 to how you actually feel, and the crowd is actually on board with you because they didn't expect that switch to happen. So there are some cases, and like you said, I want to like go into like details in terms of like, oh, this comic has like, because everyone has a different opinion, especially in the comedy community, but there are definitely situations where there's definitely just punching down for punching down's sake, because maybe there's already like inherent beliefs that comic has. But if a comic is generally like putting their craft up on stage and they're making fun of a certain group in a satirical way or like a non-serious way, and that's actually how they feel. Believe it or not, folks, everything that we say on stage is 100% reflective of how we actually feel or actually even happened, right? And so a lot of the time is just, I know, right? A lot of this time is just story grabbing and engaging, and it's more so just trying to draw the crowd in and just kind of bring them into being entertained by you, right? And so I would say it's not difficult to navigate that. But if you're going up there out the gate and you're just like, all right, I'm going to shock the world, this is what I'm going to say, then fuck you. Like, I feel like and I'm going to say it, I don't fucking care about him, but Carlos Mencia was at the Comedy Fort, right? And nice guy off stage, but like on stage, he started his set right away saying like, all right, I'm going to say some things that you people won't like. And if that's the case, you should get up right now and go get a refund. And we're like, first off, we're not giving you people a refund. Secondly, like, like what just like an edgelord thing to do right out the gate and to say, like, it's just like stuff like that, right? Like if you're going in and that's your presence out the gate and you're not trying to win the audience on your side and you're giving a disclaimer at the top of your set right away, then what the fuck are you doing? Like I don't personally think that that's the way to engage a crowd.
Yeah, he was really big for a while. I mean, he had his own show on Comedy Central, and he's kind of taken a fall. Was it? If I remember correctly, is because he was like doing like somebody else's jokes. Is that right?
So I heard he wasn't actually Mexican. Is that true? I don't know.
I heard that both those things are true, but
Dude, Carlos is gonna be so pissed next time he sees you.
He's a big watcher too, so
he jumps in the chat like every night.
Right, he always does. No, it's interesting to hear you talk about it, Greg, because I view, I mean, just like anything, it's an art form. Like stand-up comedy is an art form, and I know some people don't appreciate stand-up in the same way. And obviously, I know this is something that you want to do with your life, so I know you can appreciate that part of it. But like you were saying, if you're working on new material, it's not going to be finalized or a finished product when you're looking at it. So, I mean, at what point do you just go, all right, this isn't working the way that I want it to, and you have to like abandon ship? Does that happen for you, or do you want to just say, I'm gonna keep punching this up until I can make it something?
Yeah, good question. So there are definitely bits that I have, that I've done out in the past that weren't necessarily getting the traction I want them to. So, it's like I try to audio record at least like a lot of my sets. Yeah. And I've been not doing as good with that lately, but I need to get back in the habit of doing it. Because you get a little complacent after a while and you're like,
just because you've been crushing it, right? You've been fucking smashing it, dude.
I don't know about that, but but yeah. So like you record it and then you listen back to like, okay, where did things go wrong? Where were things going right? And sometimes you do abandon a bit and you don't revisit it. There've been a lot of times though where some of my best bits in my set right now are ones that I had maybe towards the beginning of my time in comedy within like the first year. I put away to the wayside for a bit. I revisited them. I added more tags. I added more punch ups, and I was able to build them back up with like a fresh set of eyes. I let them lay low for a bit. Like I have a whole section of notes in my phone, two different note sections, some in a Google Drive, and a lot of the times I don't even visit those for months, maybe even like a year or two, right? And I'll go back and I'm like, well, that maybe has some wheels. I'll try it out and revamp it now with a fresh set of eyes and different context and language. So, and sometimes though too, you're like, I'm gonna try this on stage. If it doesn't work, I know it's not gonna work, and if it's not gonna get an initial laugh, great. Because sometimes you have an idea for a joke that might be better for like a sketch show, right? Like you're like,
Sure.
this is a concept that I think is hilarious, but it's hard to present on stage. It'd be better in like a different type of medium, and you just know, okay, this needs to just be pushed off for right now.
Right. And that, again, that's how you know it's an art form, because the way you're describing joke writing is the same thing you hear musicians describing songwriting is, you know, I've had this riff in my head for 5 years, but I just can't put it together. You know, it's just the spoken word of it. So that's impressive to hear and cool to hear from that perspective.
Yeah. And like also like I'm a drummer too. I've been, drumming for a while.
Got my drum set right here.
Hell yeah, man.
It's an electric one, but it still counts.
Anybody put their ball sack on it yet?
Yeah, me.
Okay.
Isn't that what you're supposed to do? Like it's like breaking a baseball glove. You just
yeah.
I can't afford the mallets, so gives it a nice little different sound to it.
Yeah. Right. Just very ploppy though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but
especially on warm nights.
Right.
I mean, how am I supposed to play when the levee breaks? I just, I don't know.
Oh man, but yeah. So like it's like being like a drummer and whatnot. It's like I don't have a set myself right now, but like it's something that you're just like kind of always doing subconsciously. And like same thing with like joke writing. Sometimes I'll say something or I'll see something. I'm like, oh, that's got to go in my notes section right away, because even if you're not actively doing it or using it, it's still just something that you're just picking more up on all the time, and that you're just. I feel like that since starting comedy, I'm just a lot more aware of my surroundings and context, and just more just analytical or observant about things that normally I wouldn't have noticed before, and realize like how like silly or fucked up some things are that I'll see like out in the wild.
Right.
That before I just probably just wouldn't even looked at twice,
Bruce, thanks for sharing the stream, big dog. So obviously we are a sports podcast, so I'm curious, you grew up in a diehard sports town. Aaron can attest to that as well. Cleveland fans, they ride or die no matter what. What's it like kind of transitioning? Obviously Fort Collins isn't Denver, but what's it kind of been like? You're in a Denver-ish market, right? What are you, about hour 45? How far north?
About an hour 10 from most Denver areas.
Okay, so it's Denver-ish, and it's a relatively larger city than like Silverthorne or something like that where I live. But what's it kind of been like transitioning to a different area? Is that market still diehard Broncos, Nuggets, Avalanche? Obviously, the Avalanche something that caught on as of late here. But what's it kind of been like from a sports town perspective out there?
Man, from a sports town perspective, I say right now. The feel for like, so I'll break it down a little bit, like the Broncos feel. People are like, we want the Broncos to do well, but we're not going to expect much. Kind of what I feel about when I was back home with the Browns, right? It's like, I'd like to see them do well, but if they're not, I'm not going to be surprised. So I was like, always kind of that vibe, right? I would say there's definitely a huge Nuggets following out here, absolutely, and a big, of course, Avalanche following. Like I myself am not super into hockey, but I can never respect the sport for what it is, and so it was cool to see my friends get excited about it. And like when the Avs won, I had friends that like were crying during it, much like when the Cavs won in 2016. Like I started crying myself. I was like, why am I doing this? Because I'm
fucking hugging strangers.
Yeah,
right.
Just a lot of kissing.
We did it.
But it's like, I mean, like I remember having that emotion when the Cavs won in 2016. Because I was a big Cavs fan, growing up. Like that's like what me and my dad did. Like we'd go to Cavs games, once in a while, and like that was just a big memory for me. And that's what I really enjoyed. I love playing basketball myself, and so seeing my friends with the Avs, it was just such a cool like thing to get behind. And Colorado sports is definitely something that people really definitely wear pretty heavily on their sleeve. Even like the minor league, NHL, well not NHL, but minor league hockey team. I'm not sure what division it's called, but like the Colorado Eagles out here, like they are apparently one of the best like minor league teams in the nation as well, and so they have a big following too, and so you know, like Corey, like being at Bowling Green, and I was at Miami University for grad school. Like, it's just cool to see all this like hockey fandom. Like, I can respect it for what it is, absolutely. But I'd say the Colorado sports are they stick behind it, absolutely. But what's funny though is that you also have a lot of Midwest sports fans in Colorado too. A lot of people from like Ohio, a lot of people from
transplants.
Yeah, like there's like there's like Buffalo Backers bars, there's like Browns bars, there's a lot of Green Bay, Wisconsin bars out here too. So it's definitely like a hodgepodge because a lot of people move to Colorado because it's Colorado and they like to be out here. So you have a lot of Midwest transplants. So amongst all the fanfare for the Colorado teams, there's also still a bunch of loyalists that are mostly Midwestern teams, honestly. People don't give a shit about the West. They hate California. But it's like a lot. It's a lot of like mostly Midwest would come like in the second place there in terms of like just a mixture of teams. But I'd say Colorado is pretty loyal to their sports team specifically. And even the Broncos, you know, there's like, well, we didn't do good this year, but we'll see what happens next year. And that was always my motto for the Browns every year, you know, being back in Cleveland. Like,
which is crazy. They won a Super Bowl like fucking 7 years ago. Isn't that fucking, and how quickly the spoiled forget. Us Bengals fans have been waiting forever. You Browns fans can relate. Bobby, I don't want to hear from you, Mr. Steelers fan. So don't want to hear it.
Well, so actually, let me just real quick interject because we're talking about Browns Steelers. Corey, remember when you asked me for my Instagram handle? It's at Gregory_Berry.
Yes.
So the story behind that is that when the Browns were in the playoffs against the Steelers, I wanted them to beat the Steelers, of course. I didn't have faith in it though. So maybe this is my way of like manifesting against the world for them to beat them. But I say if the Browns beat the Steelers, I will legally change my name from Greg Cherry to Craig Berry. And they won, and I chickened out. And I was like, Instagram, let's do that instead. So,
that's close enough.
Right.
That's why they lost the next round, Greg. That's why they lost the next round.
It was my fault.
That's high stakes, though.
Yeah. That is high stakes, man.
High stakes.
I'll never sign up to do fucking paperwork.
Did you ever look into the process? Like, what? I've never. I don't know anybody.
It's a lot.
So I'm sure it's a lot.
Yeah. I mean, coming from somebody whose partner has to do it, and Aaron, I'm not sure if Mary's.
Yeah, she is, but we're going on our honeymoon in Costa Rica, so she can't do it till after because of her passport.
Right. Exactly. That was the same thing for us. It's like, fuck. All right. Well, we got some traveling to do, and we went to fucking Cabo like a few months later after that. So you never know how long it's going to take you to get a passport. But yeah, that process, you have to like notify Social Security. You have to I think you have to kill 3 virgins or something like that. It's fucking wild. And they're hard
to find.
Yeah, they are. Especially, I mean, I can imagine in Colorado. There's a ton of sluts in Colorado, I'm sure.
Oh man, there actually is a lot of cities out here actually like have like you can be like topless and like in the public if you want to. Like there's like rules that like ever passed out here.
Wait, what?
Yeah,
but isn't it every time that's the rule? It sounds great on the books, but then when you see it practice in theory, you're like, fuck, we shouldn't have changed that law.
I'm reminded of like Euro Trip where they go to the nude beach and it's just all the dudes, naked dudes that chase
running down the beach.
Yeah, just chasing after just all the old dangly balls just running down the beach. Yeah, man. Fuck.
A lot of drummers.
lot of drummers. Right, I remember seeing Harold and Kumar escape from Guantanamo Bay like when I was a kid, and they like had a bottomless party instead of a topless party.
All of the bush. So that's a real thing though. People just have you seen it? Have you ever gotten in a car accident because of it?
It's very rare that it happens. Like once it first passed, like you might have seen it like once or twice in public, but it's more so like it's just an option. If people are like, we want it to be an option, but it's not really enacted, you know.
So it's
clothing's optional in these cities.
Yeah.
Is it like like an equal rights thing? Like men can do it. Why can't? Is that
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, that was most of the backing behind it. Yeah. Which like I totally get, and you know I'm all for. But
absolutely.
But also, you don't see any dudes just walk around in public without a shirt on unless they're like homeless at a 7-Eleven. So like that's
They're just showing off at 7 a.m, running fucking 7 miles before work like an asshole. Like, dude, fuck you. Which I have
traffic stop, just like
Yeah, dude. I saw these fucking people doing that this morning on my way. I go past this high school every day, and there's people that just fucking run this fucking track, man. And there's these dudes out there like twice my age, just getting after it. Just what are you running from, dude? What do you have in your life that you're running from that often? It's a shame. Bad home life. But you're into like fucking CrossFit or something like that too, aren't you? Are you? You're like a power lifter or something. What are you doing? You're out there just getting after it.
No, it's like not CrossFit. I do go to a CrossFit gym, but that's just because it's just what they're labeled as. But yeah, no, I just try to take care of myself. People are like, "What's your goal?" I'm like, I just want to look okay naked. I don't want someone to go to sleep with me and be like, "I've made a mistake," and that's my goal. But yeah, I try to. I've been getting more to like functional lifting. More so like try to do like more like full body workouts. Kind of thing, like sled pushes, pulls, squats, things like that. But of course, you got to also once in a while hit some of the glamour muscles. But
yeah. So just like lifting up, you said practical lifting. So you're just like, if you have to save a human being from a trapped car, you're training for that moment.
Right.
Okay. I dig that. I appreciate that. So I know who to call. I know who to call.
When you're trapped under a car.
It takes at least 3 hours to fly out there, Corey, and about an hour to get to the airport. So you're gonna be waiting a while.
Just breathe slowly. Okay.
It's just it was just one of those bird scooters. He'll be fine for a while.
Yeah, the bird scooter. There you go.
Oh, I could lift the fuck out of a bird scooter.
Oh my God. All right. So, all right. Well, we covered weed, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. I'm curious. You're sipping on a Colorado beer. I come to know a couple of Colorado beers. Obviously, Cleveland, I would say Ohio in general, a very proud beer state. Yeah. I got to know. I mean, you've been out there, 6 years. So you were probably drinking beer at an equal amount of time in both states at this point. Am I doing the math incorrectly there? I don't think I am. I think it's about
around there. I mean, I'm 30 now, so like I moved out here when I was 24, and yeah, it starts like I didn't start drinking before I was 20. I started drinking when I was 18, but
yeah,
of course yeah. But it was mostly like Natty Lights, and then worked my way up.
The good stuff.
Yeah, but when you're 16, you're not like going to breweries and you're just drinking warm Natty Lights that some guy had in a trunk.
Yeah,
right. So some guy just met up a dude at a Kmart, like, "Hey man, you got the beer in your trunk?"
That's kind of how it went for me. Yeah. That's kind of how it went for. There was this guy that we used to what was his fucking name? I don't know, but I can't remember. He's a massive conspiracy theorist. And it was like every time that we would pick him up, driving to Kroger so he could get us like a 30 rack or some shit, a Natty Light. It was just like tolerating him throughout the entire, just like, yeah, man, totally. Mm-hmm. Yep, for sure. And you're like twice our age, could probably kill us at any fucking moment. But that he would buy us alcohol because we listened. And we were his therapy. So you're welcome, sir. But so being being in Colorado for this long, I'm sure you've come to appreciate their local fine pilsners and ales and such. Which state has the better beer, Ohio or Colorado?
Man, it's a toss up because there's a lot of good beer in Colorado. There's also a lot of bad beer in Colorado because there's so many breweries. You know what I mean? Like it's so saturated. Like in Fort Collins alone, I think there's like at least 17 breweries.
I have to say, every time you say Fort Collins, my head thinks Phil Collins. Every single time you say that, that's immediately where I go. Anyway, continue. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I actually live inside Phil Collins. This is his colon behind me. But, it's surprisingly very white. But no, but yeah. So, but I will have to say that maybe it's just because like it's just a familiarity thing, or it's just because like where I grew up. But every time I go back to Ohio, man, I love getting Great Lakes. I love getting Rheingeist, Brew Kettle, Mad Tree, Platform. There's like the ones I try to like drink the most when I'm there, and I do miss them. I try to, if I can, take a check bag, fly some back out with me in a check bag because you could do that. So I'd say that the ones I miss the most are Great Lakes. Great Lakes is probably my favorite brewery ever, like hard stop. And yeah, exactly. And every year around
Dortmunder, man, you can't.
Dortmunders are great.
Oh, it's so good. but every year around like the holidays, I'm always telling my mom like, hey, pick me up some Christmas ale, keep it at the house. Whenever I come back, even if it's after the holidays, I need it there. Gotta put in a pint glass with brown sugar cinnamon on the rim.
I was just about to ask, do you do the rim? Yeah, of course.
100%. 100%. Don't ask me about a rim job. I know about it.
I say big rim job podcast. We're all about it.
That's
all
great.
Exactly. Yeah,
Every
but
bit of it.
I would say personally, I think that I think that there's like a larger quantity of better beer in Colorado, but I think that the quality that I enjoy is more so in Ohio. But maybe that's also just like a nostalgia longing kind of thing where I can't get it out here. You know what I mean?
It makes sense.
Maybe if someone else was out here, they would say differently, but I definitely look more forward to drinking when back home. The only thing that sucks is that you're at elevation for the longest time out here, like a mile above. You go back to sea level, you're like, man, I'm drinking, but I don't even feel barely even tipsy or drunk. I'm just bloated.
Yeah.
So that's what it is. It's not me. Oh, thank God.
Yeah.
So even though you've gone and you've righted your ship since your experience with the man of the law, you just go back and you're just putting them down, and they're like, I'm worried about Greg again.
Yeah, like literally, like I mean, my folks know about the situation. If they listen to a podcast, that's fine. I don't care. But I don't think they're not big podcast people. But
not yet. Not until they hear this one.
Great, I'll send it to them. But it's just. I'll go back home and I'll get like a 6-pack and they'll be like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm good. Like, it's fine. And
I went through that phase.
Yeah.
It's like I worked a manual labor job for the summers and when I, come home from college of legal age to procure alcohol. I work a manual labor job out there doing fucking landscaping all day. Yeah, I want to drink a 6-pack of beer when I get home. I understand the working man now, Dad.
Right.
Okay, and so that I got the like you've been drinking a 6-pack every single night. It's like I'm 21 years old. That's what I do. Absolutely,
right.
Absolutely. All right, what else do we got for great? What have I missed here on the docket, man?
Well, I've never had a Christmas ale with the brown sugar cinnamon.
Are you serious?
I guess
you got to do it.
It's amazing. It's so good.
It's
so I take a beer glass.
Sure that's what It's a Wonderful Life is about.
Like on a plate, and then just like dip it, and then pour the beer in, and then
yeah.
And that's
you got it.
Like, I mean, it's the same thing as like salting a margarita glass, right? Like you just.
I understand the concept, but I've never heard of putting sugar.
No, you
with
don't.
beer.
You don't get it.
You just don't get it, Bobby. You clearly don't get it.
It's fine. No, but when you finally cook us those steaks that you owe us, perhaps we'll have to get some Christmas ale and garnish the rims with the cinnamon sugar. The only fucking thing I hate about that doing it at home, I love doing it at a bar. They do it better quite often.
Yeah.
Because they are professionals. But I hate cleaning the fucking glasses at home.
Yeah.
That sugar don't come off. Don't come off easy. Let's see here. What we talked about the Colorado beer. What was I gonna go with the Christmas? Oh, Aaron, last time I was in Cleveland, that's what I picked. I took home with me?
Christmas. Took home a 12-pack of Christmas.
It had to happen. It had to happen. What else do we got for Greg tonight, boys? We've just eclipsed an hour of fun time here. Anything else on the docket before we let this beautiful man enjoy the rest of his night?
Yeah, if you don't mind me kind of going back to just the comedy thing, because I'm super interested in it. I've been following stand-up comedy for like my whole life. Like people follow bands and stuff, you know, like I love it. So I'm curious because like there's a lot of stand-up comedians that they're lifers and stand-up comedians. I think of like Dave Attell or George Carlin or something like that. And then you have guys who use that as a springboard to something like Saturday Night Live or like sketch, or maybe to be like an actor or something like that. Is there anything outside of just stand-up comedy that interests you, or are you like a stand-up lifer is what you would view yourself as?
Yeah, it's a good question. So like, I mean, first off, like, I don't know like where this career is like ever going to go. Like I would love to be able to expand it and grow with it and, be able to be a bit more focused with it aside from doing like a day job. I think that's nice though is I work from home. So it really makes being able to go out to shows and book gigs like really convenient because you're working at home all day, you're around your animals, like you're good, they're good, and you can go do your thing. But yeah, I've been trying to get more like some like commercial work and stuff too. Like I want to build up a portfolio and start doing that. There's this joke underwear company called Shinesty. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but like they have like they're famous for having like a nice ball hammock in underwear. So you might check.
I'm
It's
in.
very comfortable. But I did this. You can see on my Instagram. I think Corey used it for the promo as well. But like I did this Founding Fathers 4th of July like line like shoot. There's like for comics just to be silly and like do it. And I was like, it's actually pretty fun. So I started doing that. I was recently into like a music video, like for like a 24, like a 72-hour like music video like creation competition thing, and gonna start being in like some commercial and like like online sponsorship stuff for like weed, like and weed products, like Keith
Weed's
Cola,
tight.
for instance. Yeah. And so like I would love to be able to build like more like a portfolio to get more of those like commercial gigs, whether it's like, like local or it's online branding or it's like Instagram branding, things like that. So there definitely is opportunities to build up on that and to kind of build up a reel. So that's something that I'd like to build into as well. So the comedy, yes, I also produce shows too. So sometimes producing the shows is also just as satisfying as like just being booked on a show by happenstance. But really, I just want to just have fun with it, man. Like it's just something that just brings me, happiness because I'm passionate about it, and it's something that it has always been there for me, when I needed it. So it's definitely whether I go past just the comedy stuff or stand-up stuff and other stuff, I'd love to. If it doesn't necessarily happen, as long as I'm still enjoying myself, that's what I'm looking for.
That's awesome.
So who are like your three biggest inspirations in comedy? Like who do you look up to in that world?
Yeah, good question. So way back in the day, I would say that what really got me to comedy was Dimitri Martin. Listen to him when I was younger, like in middle school and stuff. And then these are like in no particular order, but I'm also a big Tom Segura fan, and also I love Nate Bargatze, man. Like he's just
I love Nate Bargatze. He's
so
great.
His delivery is just so like monotone and matter of fact, and like I love that type of comedy where you don't have to be over the top, and like the content of your jokes just gets the audience, and so I would say those are some of my top three right now at this moment, are just just biggest influences. And kind of, you don't want to necessarily mirror someone's style, but there definitely are influences to your style. Like I'm not super energetic on stage. There might be times where I'm like, if someone's like interacting with me from the audience, or like I need to address something, I'll be a little more energetic with it. But I like to be a little bit more deadpan at sometimes, and a little bit more like medium energy or so. And I think a lot of it has to be from those influences.
Yeah, a couple of those guys that you just threw out there, exactly like that. I think of Tom, I think of Dimitri in that kind of delivery. And I mean, Tom's just fucking absolutely exploding right now, and it's been cool as a fan. Like Aaron said, we follow these guys like bands. It's been cool to see one of your favorite comics just kind of get to that pinnacle where I would say he is at. Selling out stadiums across the world now. So that's pretty badass.
Well, Two Bears, One Cave is one of the biggest podcasts in the world right now.
Right.
That's fucking hilarious. It's absolutely fucking hilarious. And it's just, it's a lot of fun. So, I mean, what about podcasting? Have you ever, obviously we're both TCOM majors. I know you were the TV side of that more, weren't you? Am I correct in that?
Yeah, I was like TV radio kind of side of that. Like media, I was media business, I think was like my official track.
Right.
But yeah, the podcasting side, I haven't necessarily thought about what that would look like. I think it would be fun to get into, absolutely. Even if it's just do. I've been on podcasts, I've been like this, like chatting with friends and whatnot. And it's definitely a medium that I do enjoy. So I can definitely see myself doing that. I need to learn how to branch out a bit more though, and get comfortable with stuff like TikTok, for instance, because that's actually honestly a lane that a lot of comics use to promote their stuff, or being a bit more active with like Instagram or Facebook Reels and putting more stuff up out there. So I've been trying to get a bit more into the habit of getting some clips here and there, like the ones I sent you, and like getting up on there and posting on that to get a bit more exposure there.
Yeah, dude, it's fucking tough. Speaking, guys that are in that same grind right now, trying to grow the podcast, when we do, obviously we all have fucking jobs to keep the lights on here, to be able to afford the platforms that we do this on, and the lights on and all that shit. Right. And and that takes time and commitment. We have things outside of that as well that feed the beast, or living. But it's when we do those things, though, they pop, man. Bobby posts a TikTok, it pops, or we post a little clip on YouTube, it pops, and it's just making that commitment. Have you ever, like, I know you said you don't do it full time. Have you thought about just like, fuck it, man, I'm throwing it to the wind and I'm going balls deep? Because there's a school of thought that, like, you won't break through that unless you do that. But at the same time, it's kind of hard to walk away from that security of what you got going right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there have definitely been times where I thought about, like, what would this look like for me, and that maybe that will come down the road. Depends on new experiences or opportunities that pop open.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm lucky to be in a position where I do have a very secure job, that I work in healthcare tech. That's not going away anytime soon. And so, because especially
we'd be
healthcare.
fucked if it did.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that security is definitely very nice to have, but I think I do like my current situation, because I do have a job where I can supplement my day-to-day life and my bills and whatnot, but it also leaves room to do the things that I want to do on the side as well.
Sure.
Especially when you're working from home and you're not in an office, you don't have a boss walking around the office and you're trying to look busy. Like, if I have some downtime, I have that time to use towards promoting myself, or towards booking shows, or towards promoting my stuff. So right now, I think I'm in a situation that I do enjoy. I think I do need to get a little more experience. I need to get on some more festivals. I need to do a little bit more networking. And so eventually, when that happens, some more opportunities and doors will be open. But maybe there'll be opportunity one day where I can build my portfolio a bit more, which I'm trying to do, get an agent, and really start booking a few more things. But gotta just take some things into consideration. Got a dog, got a cat. I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but my dog's a very needy motherfucker, and I don't know how he's still alive after 6 years. But it's crazy. But yeah, dude, I mean, definitely thought about what it's gonna look like. There have been times where I'm super head first into it, doing my job, but I'm also just booking things. I'm doing things like 5-6 nights a week, comedy related, whether it's working at the club or being on shows. And then, like, for instance, there's some times where you just need to peel back and take a bit of a break so you're not burned out. Like in August, like this month, I purposely didn't reach out to book a bunch of things. I took more of a break and a breather to just give myself a little bit more room so I can get a little bit more refocused and, not feel that burnout from, if you will.
Yeah,
Sure.
I think coming from a 4-man show with this, obviously the support of another YouTube channel. Shout out to Tommy there. We have his support as well. But coming from that perspective, I totally understand. There are moments where you're just like, I need to just like recharge, and it almost like, if you don't, your content's not going to be as high a quality. I think, Bobby, you can. I mean, you are a huge proponent of what I'm talking about right now. You can kind of iterate on that for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I have a gaming page on Facebook and Twitch.
Nice.
I've been running for 2 years. It'll be 2 years in November. I do it every day. And there's times where I'm just like, I have to stop and just take a step back. And sometimes I don't do as good of a job of, telling the community like, hey, I'm going to be taking some time off because I just can't stand to do this shit right now. But yeah, no, it's, you gotta take the breaks, because, obviously doing, this platform and then watching the whole thing back and taking the clips and cutting and editing and listening and trying to chop down the ums and the uhs, and it gets really tedious, and it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work doing it. But the work pays off, in the long run, if you can continuously put out content, not just good content, great content. Obviously hit all the platforms as well. YouTube shorts are a big thing right now, which is where we've had a lot of success on a couple of our videos. TikTok's a difficult platform for me to figure out right now. I still haven't quite figured out the lane and how to hit the algorithm there.
Because we don't thirst trap enough, Bob, dude. We just you gotta show that fucking donk, dude. You have the meanest jorts in the game, dude. You have the meanest jorts, and I'm just telling you,
I always told myself I wouldn't sell my body.
We're all whores.
Yeah, I think we're there. Keep putting down this wine and PBR, and I'm basically doing Pinot bombs right now. Is what I'm just fucking over here doing. So
yeah, as ever, you put like a little whiskey in it, and you just shoot it back with the red.
So it's what were Pinot bombs? It was a 149 special.
I don't remember doing that.
I can't imagine mixing.
Oh man, I remember hearing that now. You said 149. I don't
149. It was vodka, Pinot Noir wine with a Red Bull floater.
Oh,
so
boy.
it's like if you just felt like being a pile of shit the next day, you would drink about 4 of those.
Yeah, but that was the thing back then. I mean, we'd crush 149 and then my body could just actually regenerate the next day. Now I have I'm having these 2 Oktoberfests, and tomorrow I'm going to be like, oh God,
Mike's in favor.
It's just the worst. But yeah, man, that sounds disgusting.
yeah, they were.
I can't imagine.
But they'll fuck you up, bro. But they'll fuck you up, man.
When you're 21, you don't care what it tastes like as long as it fucks you up.
Yeah.
I mean, did you guys ever do a Hyper Viper in college?
A Hyper Viper.
No, I
all
never.
All right.
No.
So this I learned this from Sigma Kappa, and you drink a Cobra, like a King Cobra, the 40.
Yeah.
You drink it halfway down. And this is back when Four Locos were the original ones.
No
shit. And then you fill it back up with a whole Four Loco.
Oh boy!
And it was called a Hyper Viper, and that was a sure way to black out.
We would do the.
I just forgot the whole show just thinking about drinking that.
Oh my God!
We would do a Century Club where you take 1 shot of King Cobra every minute for 100 minutes, which if you're counting at home, is 1 hour and 40 minutes, and that's a good way to just not make it to the bars that evening. Which so you had an experience at
make it to the bathroom.
Yeah, you had an experience at BG, and then you were a graduate school at Miami. So did you live in Oxford when you went to Miami?
Yeah, man, my citizenship was in residence life, so I got a fully furnished, fully furnished, 2-bedroom apartment both years that was on campus in one of the residence halls. And dude, Miami was such a night and day shift from BG because Miami, if for reference to people who haven't been there or listening, is that it's called J. Crew U. Oh, you did? Yeah. It's called J. Crew U. It's the most expensive public school in the nation. Yep. And being there for grad school was such a different experience than the kids there for undergrad, because I feel like Bowling Green, you're there, you're working 2 to 3 jobs just to support your alcoholism and your tuition.
Up there.
Taco Bell.
Yeah, exactly. Your $20 Taco Bell order on the weekends. And then you go to Miami and it's man, you have the Pepsi CEO's kids, the governor of Massachusetts' daughter was in my building. It's such a different world, man. It's so crazy. But
yeah, they give you a Banana Republic gift card when you graduate, I heard. Is that true? Can you confirm or deny?
Yeah, well, they actually just gave me a stack of bananas, so I think I got a little short staffed. Yeah.
But, interesting.
Yeah.
So so did you have a trash can? Have you had a trash can before at Brick Street?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Right. There's actually a girl I knew that tore a tendon in her leg at Brick Street because her foot stuck to the ground too much, and she went to go move it, and she tore her tendon because her foot stuck to the ground.
Holy!
Oh my God!
Fuck. For those of you who don't know, Brick Street is just it's just a fucking hell. It's the most popular bar in Oxford though, bar none, right? So, at least it was back in our day. I don't know.
Right.
We're fucking old now. Look at us reliving the glory days.
Wait, so Bobby, did you beat the clock then?
No, I never did that. So I did all my classes at the regional campuses.
Okay, gotcha.
And so I didn't have to pay that expensive Oxford tuition.
So what's beat the clock? What is that?
Beat the clock is sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. You got it.
Fair enough. You get tell me if I'm telling it wrong. You get a pitcher and natty, right? From it's I think it started at 12 o'clock. So from 12 to 1, it's $1. 1 to 2, it's $2. 2 to 3, it's $3. 3 to 4, it's I think still $3. 4 to 5, it's $2. 5 to 6, it's $1. So it's you gotta try to beat the clock before the price increases for a pitcher of natty.
What you have to beat the what? Explain.
So you buy it for $1. You have to finish the pitcher before the price change.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you get an hour to finish a pitcher, and then you buy another pitcher. Then you get an hour to finish a pitcher, and then
can you share it with people, or do you got to do it yourself?
I can fucking do that by myself. What is that? 4 beers?
I believe it's a solo deal.
Okay.
4 beers? Come on, guys.
Well, no, it's a whole pitcher. So
in an hour.
Well, yeah, but then you
for
try
6
to keep
hours.
drinking it. Yeah.
Oh, you have to do it for 6 hours.
Yeah.
Okay, that's different. I thought
Yeah.
the way you described to me is I have to finish a
No,
pitcher
it's
in
not
an
a one
hour.
and done. It's not a one and
Yeah.
done.
Okay.
Anybody can fucking do that.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah, your kids
Okay.
could do that.
So wait, there's bars open. They could. I feed them fucking dude.
Well,
You
he's
should
fucking
see.
trained, you know.
You should see this 4-year-old fucking put down a case of natty, dude. She will fuck me up, dude. What is what? So what, you said it's until 5 o'clock in the morning, or is this like a Saturday day drinking thing that you do? What do you?
Day drinking deal.
Day.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. I think that sounds like something we need to try.
You do that during football, though. I feel like I'd have no problem doing it.
Oh,
Yeah,
good
absolutely.
call,
That's
Aaron.
the move.
Yeah, you start with your Big Ten.
Right.
You get your 3 o'clock SEC showcase game on CBS. Then you're rolling right.
Just go get a case. It's basically 24 beer, or no, it's 36 beer.
Yeah.
No, hold on.
30.
24, right?
24 beers. It's a case.
Yeah.
It's a case in 6 hours.
A case in 6 hours. It sounds like a marathon live stream, a charity marathon live stream. I think we've stumbled upon. I will continue to drink a case of beer. I did it for my 30th birthday. Aaron witnessed it.
You try to go for 30?
I got it.
Oh my!
I didn't
God.
try it. I achieved this. So there was some. There was
golf
some.
course.
Started on the golf course about 9 a.m. It did. I got it right before midnight though, so it wasn't 6 hours. But I drank 30 beers. Is the difference there? Yeah. It's a lot. I will go ahead and just go ahead and put that out there. It is a lot. I didn't make it to midnight, and I Irish goodbye everyone at my 30th birthday. I just vanished. One of my friends was we had a karaoke going in my backyard of my neighborhood that has an HOA because we gave no fucks. And one of my friends was just grabbed. He's like, "I'm going to do a stand-up set." So he just gets up there. He's like, "Hey, so what about clocks?"
Yeah, he did it satirically. We're just like, you guys ever think about clocks? Like he just like paced the deck.
So fucking funny. But I just said I Irish goodbye.
It was just me just laughing my ass off. Everyone else is like, what is this guy? And I know this guy, and I know he's just doing a bit. And everyone else is like, what is this? And I am crying.
Oh,
how'd the bit
God
go? Do
damn
you
it.
remember?
It was terrible, but it was supposed to be terrible. So everyone else is like waiting for this to like turn into something, and I'm just in the corner like, losing my fucking mind in laughter because I know what this guy's doing, but I'm the only one in on the joke. It was perfect. It was just a show for me.
Oh my God, man! Just reliving the. I think we've stumbled across something. Chat, let me know if this is something I need to do for charity. Of course, we'll raise money to combat Parkinson's or child cancer, something pivotal, and we'll get behind it as a group. But that's what we're about here, Greg. If you're ever interested in collaborating, man,
Always down to drink a shit ton of beer.
Yeah, man.
beer, charity, and sports. Those are the three things that we're all about here. And we call ourselves the Generous Degenerates, as coined by, I believe, Mr. Aaron Malin.
I can't take
Todd.
credit for that.
Wow. Okay. Todd, I'm so sorry. I'm so
But
sorry.
right when he
Todd.
said it, I was like, yes, that's a thing.
The Generous Degenerates, nonetheless. And so if we're ever able to collaborate on something, I hope this isn't the last time. I hope we didn't scare you away from Rally Towel Sports.
Oh, no, man.
We want to bring you back on, but I want you to go ahead and plug what if sorry to put you on the spot here. What shows
You're good.
you got coming up? Anything you want to plug for the community?
Yeah. So just got this. I mean, I don't know if anyone's in Colorado, but this Friday at High Ups Brewing, we have a show in Windsor, Colorado. I'll be at the I guess more Ohio centric. I'll be at the Midwest Queer Comedy Festival in Columbus early next year. Dates to be determined, but those will be shot out here pretty soon.
Yeah, just
and
shoot
also,
them to us, let us know.
yeah, absolutely. And also too, I'm mostly active on Instagram or Facebook. So you can find me on Facebook, Greg Cherry, but Instagram is at Craigery, like Gregory, but at Craigery_Berry. So that's where you folks can find me. So not Gregory Cherry, Craigery Berry. But yeah, man. But also too, if folks are ever out in the area, like definitely look me up, and I definitely can have shows. Check out the Comedy Fort if you're in Fort Collins. Comedy Works down in Denver is also a good place to check out. And for you gentlemen, if you ever want me to send you out any Colorado beer, I can definitely put that together, I'm sure.
We'll get some Great Lakes together for you.
Oh,
Make it a nice
little,
little,
a little swap.
trade.
little swap.
That sounds fantastic. I
Yeah.
love that. I'll get some Michigan beer. I'm in the local Detroit area as well, so a nice 3-way trade here.
Dude,
Lot
what's
of-
crazy is they have Bells and Founders out here now too.
No shit.
No,
All
yeah,
right.
that's dope.
Yeah.
Well,
Good for
you're
them.
getting all the good stuff. Any Ohio beers out in Colorado?
No, well, sometimes the Great American Beer Festival is in Denver every year, so sometimes people that are coming through will bring their own beer and like drop it off. And so for instance, I've seen like Rhine Geist out here before at a
Oh,
few
wow.
places. They'll just like go to like local distributors and just drop it off and say, like, here, sell this, just to bring their name out. But also a shout out, can I do like a local beer shout out in Ohio over there?
Absolutely.
Okay, awesome. So one of my other favorite breweries on Ohio is Municipal Beer Works in Hamilton, Ohio. My buddy Jim Goodman and Aaron Holtz, run that place, and amazing. They give back to the community all the time. Really good beers. I definitely recommend checking them out if you guys are in the area or see them in stores.
Well, you're gonna have to link us up with those guys.
Weekend, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to link us up with those guys. We're gonna have to do a collab with them because they cover two of our favorite things, then charity and beer. So
Right.
and I'm sure there's at least one sport that they enjoy. So we're gonna have to do a collaboration there. Maybe get you to do a little 20-minute set if you got 20 minutes or something like that over there. So no, but that sounds fucking amazing. But Greg, we really appreciate your time tonight, man. It's been a lot of fun, beautiful insight into the world of stand-up comedy. We hope you're always welcome here on Rally Tau Sports. So looking forward to seeing what you got coming up next, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah, appreciate it, guys. Thanks again.
appreciate you.
Yeah, all right. For Aaron, Bobby, Greg, I'm Corey. Thank you guys so much. Have a beautiful night. We'll see you tomorrow night for Line to Gain. Peace.
Let's get it.